What's up, y'all? So I need to kind of clear up something that I think is important when it comes to Claressa Shields. Nobody that I've observed or heard has talked about her accomplishments. You can't take away her 2 gold medals. You can't take away whatever her fighting record is. Um, you can't take away what she's brought to the sport of women's boxing. Like, those things are not really up for debate. What I will say is that um, when it comes to why people are irritated with her, it has a lot to do with her personal life. And a lot of people may not understand why that matters. But in this video, we're going to talk about why it matters. Because you're a public figure and you made your personal life public. And so when you do that, it opens you up to not only people who agree with you, but people who don't agree with you. And the people that may not agree with you, I think really just want better for you than you seem to want for yourself. Because when you think about her career and how people viewed her before she decided to enter into a relationship with Papoose, um, it was very respected what she brought to the sport of women's boxing. And I think what happened is there was a shift in how she behaved and how perhaps she felt she could behave because, she ended up with a more public figure. And when we think about how pretty much the culture got introduced to Papoose and the way we as a culture got introduced to how Claressa and Papoose got together, it kind of can help one understand why things shifted when they decided to get together the way that they did. I'm pretty sure that no one is upset with, the fact that Remy Ma and Papoose split up. I mean, like, people split up all the time. Did we perhaps want them to? No, because they had the whole black love thing going, and everybody was like, oh, we rooting for them and we want them to work, but it didn't. Okay, that's fine. Um, what's not fine is how things kind of dissolved between the two of them. It became a situation where it became public knowledge that Remy and Easy the Block Captain were in a relationship. And this became evident before Remy Ma ever said anything about the truth regarding her experience of Papoose and what was going on with them. And I just recall, first of all, not even believing that they were really on a live doing this whole back and forth with each other. Because for a lot of people, it just came out of nowhere. Like, one minute they was on, Love and Hip Hop, and they was getting married and everything, the whole Black Love brand, and then boom, here we are. We hearing some stuff that we didn't expect to hear from them, right? And so, whoop de whoop, they broke up. Okay. And, you know, people was dragging Remy for the whole Easy situation, dogging Easy out, calling him a Timu version of Papoose, blah, blah, blah. So then, Remy Ma aired them out saying how they had not been in the same bed since May 2022 and all of this stuff right here. And here's why people are irritated, because it's like, Claressa, if it is true about the whole them being split up and them being separated before you even got with the man and stuff like that, why was he at the house still? Nobody was making him stay there. It was his decision. And so I think people are irritated with the fact that you're allowing yourself to be in a situation that you technically don't have to be in, right? I mean, you said it yourself when you was on a Breakfast Club. You was like, hey, I'm a world champion. I got 2 gold medals. What I look like, blah, blah, blah. And I think some people want you to be like, what I look like being in this relationship with a man who is still married, who, still has his wife's whole face tattooed on him. It's no mistaking what that tattoo means. Like sometimes you know how people can get like a tattoo and it may be an initial or something. You can say, no, 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 we know what that is. Like it's clear. You know, why there have seemingly been some situations within the relationship that you just don't deserve for the stature of woman that you had built yourself up to be. Even when the wife is telling you what his situation is, because one thing about it, nobody can say anything when it comes to being somebody's spouse, because the spouse know that person better than anybody. And over time, the things that Remy Ma has said have pretty much been on point. And yet you're still in this situation. And people are like, girl, you don't deserve this. And I think initially people were happy for y'all because the perception was that, oh, Pap got cheated on, so he moving on, let them be great. But then as time went on, it just didn't look the way it needed to look. And unfortunately for Claressa, he had a very public relationship, marriage and everything that played out. And people are going to compare. That's just what's going to happen. She herself has, said how she pretty much felt like the relationship was better, if you will, when they were private. That's pretty much the consensus of what she said. Because I agree that whether you're a high profile public figure or not, when your relationship isn't splattered all over social media, it's a better time because you have less people involved, you got less judgment, etc. But it's going to be news. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be news, especially when you respond the way you respond. And I think that's when a lot of the energy shifted to, basically attacking her, which I'm not really a fan of. But at the same time, she attacked people too. And so I think people are irritated with the fact that you should be above the situation that you so willingly and happily indulge in and engage in, because it appears that you don't know your value and your worth. And it's like they went from trying to advise to giving the same energy back. And it's to the place where you bragging about stuff that's not brag worthy. And then on top of that, the trajectory of your career has shifted downward. And let's take a look at that, because the same man that you got with has played a big role in how people perceive you and the trajectory of your career. And like it or not, when you're a public figure, people have to like you. You say, I'm not here for y'all to like me, but technically, if people don't like you, they're not going to support you. When people don't like you, you don't get brand endorsements. When people don't like you, no one wants to, be around. And I think it's a little unrealistic to think that, let me say this. People, no matter if they're, the villain or the good guy or whatever, however you want to classify that, they're going to have fans. But Imagine the fan base that you could have had. You know what I mean? Like, imagine the opportunities that you could have had if you handled the situation differently. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not here to try to belittle anyone or, judge people's decisions, because everybody live and learn. As a woman, I've done things that I look back on, I'm like, oh Lord, what was I thinking? Like, why did I do this? Like, what was going through my mind at the time, right? And I feel like, if not the entire relationship, she's going to look back on this and be like, girl, I was bugging for real. Like, I was really tripping. Don't know when that time is coming. However, there's no way that anybody could be in this type of scenario and not at some point in their lives look back and be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that way. You know what I mean? As far as Remy Ma airing them out, first of all, let me say this. When you put yourself in a situation, right, where you are coming behind somebody's husband, right, and she handled it however she wants to, you can't get mad at her for that. You can't get mad at her, because let me tell you something. That man was there, whether they was separated or not. And one thing that we all can pretty much deduce is that if they were, I feel like if he was done with her for real, if Pat was done with Remy for real, he wouldn't still be in that house. However, we've heard that he has issues with money. Remy has stated that she is the breadwinner. She's the one with the bag. And as time has gone on, she has proven to be correct. Let's look at everything. I mean, like, y'all have paid attention to it, and if you guys haven't, it appears that, you know, he just, like, okay, for example, if his clothes are still at Remy Ma's house, why? You see what I'm saying? It's stuff like that that have people talking. Like, why not go get your clothes? And if you don't want those clothes anymore or whatever, go buy you some new clothes, like something. I don't know. But the way he's carrying himself since he's left the marital home is different. The way he moving is different. You know what I mean? I mean, as much as he loved the Knicks, seemed like to me he would have went to one game when they were, making their way toward the championship. Not a game. If he had the money like that. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to down the brother. It's just, these are observations that people are making and trying to point out to Claressa, because truth be told, she do deserve better than that. But it seems to me and a lot of people that she's okay with the situation, and she wants other people to just be all right with it. And it's like, you can't make people agree. I think she felt like, let me say this. Sometimes when you see a couple, some people be like, oh, I wish I had that type of relationship. And then some people be like, oh, I want that man. And it's giving, she had the energy of the second type of people. It does not look good when you go into the wife's inbox and kind of buddy her up a little bit, from what we saw in the messages and everything, and try to ask her for fashion advice. And then before you know it, this same woman who was in your inbox popping out with your man, and dressing like you and your friend. And it's weird. I'm sorry. It's so weird, because who are you? And when you're a public figure, people want to connect with who you are. But how can they know who you are when you are just all over the place? And at this point, the story continues to unfold. And now people are curious, like, how is it going to end? Like, what's going to happen? Especially when you've been so arrogant. Confidence is one thing. Confidence is one thing, but arrogance is just annoying. And again, being, arrogant about things that you shouldn't be bragging about. And Remy said that Pap told her he can't control her. And we can tell. But I'm wondering who in her life that hasn't left at this point is there that she'll listen to, that'll sit her down and tell her, listen, this isn't working to your advantage. And it's not that somebody trying to tell her who to be with. At this point, like, what are you going to do? Your career is not the same. You keep talking about these fight announcements that have not occurred yet. You signed a 2-year, 4-fight deal with Win Records to get your full $8 million. You ain't had but one fight in a few months. It'll be, unless you have a fight at the end of this year, you will have been in this contract for 1 full year and have only had one fight. You sitting here fussing with people who are street fighters, talking about you want to fight Layla Ali, a retired boxer. You want to fight 50 Cent. What? Like, girl, you are a champion, but the behavior is not matching up. And I think that people want more for her and then get frustrated with her and irritated with her. And that's what we see here. And then it doesn't help that she lashes out, that she acts as if her public image means nothing when it really does. And, she unfortunately have seemed to kind of reached her peak when it comes to boxing at this point. I don't know if she'll be able to turn it around, if she doesn't come to her senses. Now, after the Aruba vacation that they went on, almost a month ago now is when they got back or whatever, we haven't really seen her and Pap together. Usually when they're together, she does a whole lot of, videoing and posting and everything. And we haven't seen that. Clearly, it doesn't look like they were together for Father's Day either. And, that also had me thinking, like, it matters that man is married because he has a daughter with Remy Ma. Their baby is only 7 years old. And let me just ask you guys, would you trust someone like Claressa Shields to be a mother figure to your young girl, your young daughter or son if you had one? It doesn't matter. Would you want that type of person, how she acts and what we see of her? Because that's all Remy Ma knows. She doesn't know her. She just knows what she sees. You see what I'm saying? So would you want someone that acts like that around your young daughter? I'm just saying. And that's the things that are not discussed. That's what seems not to be talked about right now. And for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like she thinks that's important to carry herself in such a way that, somebody would trust you with their child. Because, for me, it'd be like, okay, so who's she going to have around my child? Like, I mean, so many questions. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's disappointing because before choosing to be in this relationship, she had such a promising outlook. And the same man who she's choosing to be with, the influence of the relationship has turned her career downward. And that same man who's no longer with Remy Ma, her career has catapulted to another level. And it may not be fair to compare, but you can't help but compare. It's right in our faces. And instead of Claressa being upset with people making observations, perhaps she needs to sit back and think on her own, what has being in this relationship really done for me overall? Because clearly, she's had other boyfriends and stuff, was even engaged. So you don't need him to have a relationship, because apparently you were having relationships. So aside from, a more public figure than the men that you were dating before, the man that you were engaged to before, what has this relationship done for her? Not just personally, but professionally as well. So you guys, thank you for watching this video. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And y'all let me know what your thoughts are. Like, I'm not trying to attack her, and I'm not judging any party in the situation, but it's kind of sad to see that she's allowing herself to, kind of go down this road. And if she didn't want to box no more, that's cool. Like, wouldn't nobody be mad at her? Because think about it. She's been boxing since she was 13 years old, I believe. She's 31. That's a long time to be getting hit. You feel me? Like, she may be tired of that, and that's cool, but like, the transition should have been better. Period. And the reporting of her is negative because that's pretty much what we get. That's pretty much what we see. I don't think anybody would be adverse to posting good things about her when they come about. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll holler at y'all later.